Hey guys, welcome to episode 8 of the Kurious Kast. My name is Charles, I'm your host, and today we have Mel and Luke from EMP Performance. Mel and Luke own EMP Performance, which is a gym located on Sydney's Northern Beaches, and they've got an incredible story to tell, and I'd like to introduce them both. So thank you very much for both being on the podcast today. And yeah, it's okay. It's great to have you guys on. You've got a really important story to tell, and you guys have had a really big journey to get to this point.
Yep.
And there's some really interesting things that I think our audience would love to hear, and I'd assume would help them in their business journey as well. So thank you for being here. So let's start. Let's just get straight into it. Let's start by just telling the audience a little bit about yourselves, where your background is, and where your beginnings were. So who are you guys? I guess that's probably the best place to start.
Yep. You lead, big boy. You lead.
So Mel Bezdini, obviously Lebanese background, grew up on Northern Beaches of Avalon. My dad came out here when he was 20 years old, and he decided to come and leave the West and move it as far as possible. So he chose Kurious Bay. And just from there went to local school, Murray Catholic College, and started my journey through life there. And obviously met Charles at Martin Morale.
The only two Lebanese guys in the whole Northern Beaches. Yeah.
It was A2. And sort of done my way through life, and here I am, 34 years later.
Beautiful. So I grew up on Northern Beaches as well. Had a different sort of story. I kind of moved around just due to parents breaking up and whatever else. So I've sort of lived a few places, Gosford, Mount Colah, and then back to the beaches, sort of my later years of life, and haven't left since. Beaches boy at heart. Live now in Manly, and grew up whole life sort of playing footy. So I come from a football background. That's where I met the big rig over here. We were playing football together, actually playing against each other, and then we ended up playing.
Always told to mark Luke number 9 out of dummy half. He just likes to score tries, and that's how it started. So
He's hog.
when did we meet again? We met probably at the footy portfolio.
I actually don't even know where we actually.
That's probably where.
Was it? Yeah.
Grant.
Yeah. I actually can't even remember. To be honest. So we met through footy, and then however long ago that was, and then sort of become best mates through that, and here we are today doing what we're doing.
So after the footy, or maybe the footy is a part of it, but maybe after the school and everything else, where did you guys go from there? Like, did you guys go straight into owning your own businesses? Was it always just this is what you wanted to do with it? What led you to this point as far from a business standpoint? Mel?
So when I finished, obviously, school, I think from probably 10, I always saw myself as a personal trainer. I obviously always gravitated to always wanting to help people. I've loved wanting to, when I was younger, fix things. I know it's probably a bad thing trying to fix people, but it's also problem solving. And, I think the way you can make someone feel is really important and help them through challenges and instill belief in people. So, I love training. I used to leave school, half at lunchtime sometimes, and I used to live in Warrior. So I used to go out and train with Chris Atsey when they're having their home gym. It was a gym team.
I remember those days.
Chris Atsey, yeah. So I've always wanted to be PT. So after school, decided to become a personal trainer straight away. Went to fitness first, did my course at AIF, and I think, straight away I was pretty much PT in North Sydney, Walker Street, 5 years. And that was my first little, beginning into, operating my own small business, and as the rental model, fitness first, but that was my first little taste of it.
And then where did you go from there?
After the
So you had this journey where you'd gone through, done your personal training course, you were coaching, you had a pretty successful in-person personal training business, and then there was a bit of a pivot, I know from your story. So what was that pivot?
My pivot. So obviously, looking back now, you realise back when I was 23, I thought my life sounds pretty dramatic. But I thought life's done now, I'm old now. But you realise as you get bit older, got so many years to live, and I just got bored. I didn't realize probably how good I had North Sydney Walker Street. I was probably a bit burnt out, obviously, because PT can sometimes take it out of you. Yeah. It can really take it out of you. You're trying to fill everyone else's cup. I just got to the stage was like, I needed a break from it. And then I got opportunity randomly. I was actually trained filling in for Cameron Oreb. I trained Ramsey, that Grounds Alexandria, and just saw him trying to create a cafe. And I was always it just got me really thinking about food and hospitality. And my parents owned cafes their whole life, owned Kurious Bay Village Deli, and then he owned cafes in Narrabeen. And I never wanted to open a hospitality business. I saw how hard it was. But once again, I think what you don't realize is that like all these businesses have got the same thing in common. It's got people, and bringing some joy into their life. And more I got thinking about, I was like, I just need a break for the PT side of things. So I just randomly started opening a cafe, and luckily got an opportunity with small risk in Ultimo, in Billy Blue Design College. So without knowing how to make coffee, I opened a cafe. And honestly, it's probably the best I've ever made. Yeah, doing that. Yeah.
That's and then where'd you go from there?
After the cafes?
Well, from there, how long were you in that cafe for?
Yeah, so I was in there for a couple of years. I was in there for about a year or so.
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to open a second one at in Piermont, like sister company. And from that onwards, I wanted to create. I always said I feel like I wanted to create. I know that's right or wrong, but I feel sometimes like I've got a lot of ideas, and then got the opportunity to open sort of like more of a sit-down cafe, which was in Warriewood, and that was a big lesson of mine. Big lesson of mine. Sometimes the things you wish for, you get them to teach your lesson. Sometimes too, you shouldn't always have things you want. And I learned my biggest lesson there. Trying to push something was never right.
Yeah. If you don't mind sharing, do you mind elaborating a bit on that?
Yeah. I was never ready for it. Like we had a big cafe, and it was it wasn't a big cafe. It was like 50, 60 seat cafe, and financially probably weren't stable enough to support that kind of business. And I just wasn't experienced enough, mate.
Would you say maybe it was like you not having the proper planning to be able to put those things into play?
And also experience, mate. Like thing with experience, you can't actually buy it. It takes time to
Can't put a dollar figure on it.
You can't. You need to make mistakes, small mistakes, and then kind of rebuild from that onwards. And then but all lessons I learned through that, like obviously after a few years, I kind of realized like I just walked away from that business. And once again, that was so hard, because the reason why it's so hard was you get invested in the people you serve every day. You make coffee for them, you build a relationship with them. And then sometimes I think you got to know when to stop as well, because you have an ego sometimes both ways, not stopping and wanting to give up, but you've also got to make the right decision sometimes. That led me a lot of lessons for that cafe. And
the right decision is not always the easiest one, is it?
No, not at all. No, it's often the hardest. It's like you have easy choices, hard life, easy choices,
Definitely. What about you, Luke? What was it? Where were your beginnings, I guess, before here?
So growing up, I loved fitness. Dad was sort of in the bodybuilding regime, so I think he taught me, like we're just saying, training North Shore Gym now. He took me to North Shore Gym, I think, when I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
So from then on, I kind of just loved fitness. Like I said, growing up playing footy, at that stage, kind of worked through my way through the ranks down at Manly Seagulls. So at that stage, in high school, I wanted to, my dream was to always play NRL. That was just my dream growing up. And so I actually left school in year 10, and I wanted to go to my personal training certificate then, because I wanted to get into fitness and then still be playing footy and so forth. But Dad kind of pushed me more towards getting an apprenticeship under my belt, as I was still playing footy, and sort of just as a bit of a backup if it didn't make NRL, which ends up I didn't. So I actually went through, did 4 years of my carpentry apprenticeship and did that. Got to the end of my 4 years and I was like, I just don't have the burning desire to go on here, do my builders and have my own building company. It just didn't light a fire in me. Personal training and fitness was what I truly wanted to do. So I finished my 4 years, actually started working for Dad, who has a parcel contract business, 3 a.m. starts, and then I'd go and study in the evening and do my personal training certificates at AIF as well. To be honest, for the last sort of so prior to EMP, I think I was working 2 jobs for 8 years. So I was doing parcel contracts and then I'd go do my personal training clients in the afternoon, and I was just slowly trying to chip away, building that up. And then a good mate of mine opened up a CrossFit gym in 2013 up at Kurious. And I was still working as a parcel contractor then, but he gave me the opportunity to work with him a bit more and slowly start to build my essentially personal training business out of that CrossFit gym. So yeah, from then on, I kind of backed off from the parcels a bit, still work just a few hours in the day. So I backed off with my parcels during the day and was just building up my PT through the evenings and the mornings with that. And that kind of, like I said, that sort of led me down to, I guess, where we are here now. I was quite content with my personal training, to be honest. I was working working up there at Kurious. My mate actually sold the business. So then I went to another CrossFit gym. At that stage, I was kind of competing in CrossFit a bit more now and taking that a little bit more serious, and then doing my PT as well. So I was coaching CrossFit, doing PT, and I was actually quite comfortable, to be honest, doing them. And I'm just my nature, not a massive risk taker. I've never have been a massive risk taker. I get quite comfortable with my setting.
What, 2 complete opposites?
We do, and that's why we work so well.
And it works.
But Mel and I, we always, when he got back into the fitness industry, we always sort of had this ambition to do something together. We actually started another business, EMP Performance, and we tried to go the whole online route. And it's actually funny. We were doing a podcast, and in that podcast, Mel's like, "I will never open a gym." It's the funniest thing. I have to try to pull it up.
I'll probably never laugh so much in my life. It's just me just talking to the camera.
So funny.
And I didn't even know it was recording. I was like, fuck, bro, I'd never open it. And it was just after COVID. I was like, we actually started crying. Like, we started laughing so much we started crying. It was like, I was right. It's like what I've done the exact opposite, which is me.
So funny, yeah. So
The best. It was actually one of the best.
Crack up. So we did that whole online thing, and then this opportunity kind of come up, and
I can imagine how the conversation would have gone.
So
Mel would have called you up, or he would have come to you like, Habib, I've got the best idea. Let's open a gym.
That's how it legit started.
Like the opportunity came up, and you're right. He actually called me because it was through someone he knew.
Yeah,
came, checked it, and it sort of just happened. So
like the funny thing was that we were going to open up actually in Willoughby,
about a place.
It was like the most amazing spot, man. Like we was like big garage, like long driveway kind of thing. We're next to the piano shop.
Oh yeah,
Willoughby. And then we saw it, and we had a good deal, and we were like, honestly, I remember saying to Luke, I was like, this is perfect, but this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Cheap rent.
And we had investors, and that will kind of go down that route. And so,
it feels wrong to do this. I was like, just like gut instinct.
you got to go with your gut.
Yeah, I always have to. I'm kind of like, we do that 11, double fours, complete weird thing. But I was like, nah, it feels the wrong spot. It looked like the right spot, but my gut was telling me no. And then we kind of agreed upon, no, bro, don't worry, we'll save some money.
Yeah.
2 years to look down. I was like, fuck that. And I was like, I want to do it. Like, I was doing casual stuff. I was like, nah, don't do that. And then he was away doing the bushfires.
I was down in Batemans Bay when those
bushfires
were on trap down there. So
I said to mate, I found a 6 spot. We'll come in, set up gym. Guys got bankrupt. We'll go straight in, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And And that's pretty much how we got here. And we literally got this place for $1 to the little spot. So
Can't go wrong with that.
it was $1.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Will cost them.
It was half of what, half or quarter of what it looks like now, but there's a little bit of piece of equipment and things like that in here. But
But it adds up.
But yeah, our life savings have been put into the joint. So yeah,
Risk taking, man.
it was for me particularly. Like I said, I'm not a big risk taker. So
Yeah.
for me to jump ship from being quite comfortable doing what I was doing, earning, all right money, it was a big risk. But yeah, I haven't looked back since.
So just on that, like you said, like this is a big risk, obviously, for you to take.
Yep.
And I've known Mel. I've known both of you a long time, but I know Mel quite well. And I know Mel's the complete opposite. He's obviously a big risk taker.
Yep.
What are both of you, like, what are your drivers? Like, what are those influences in your life, whether they might be a family member or a friend or a wife, or like, what are those things in your life or those people in your life that drive you to take those risks and to bring you to this point now?
It's hard for me to actually say whether I have anyone in particular I look at and they're like, you're what drives me to have this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I go back to when I was a kid, it's funny. Like part of me always wanted to probably have my own gym because I loved fitness so much, but never really understood what it taught. Do you know what I mean? So there's probably that little thing from back when I was a kid and I was training so much that it was like, I actually wanted to have a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of just the route that I chose in life has kind of led me to where I am now. Yes, I've had people throughout that route who have been influential.
Probably like your dad, I'd say, take you to the gym.
Yeah, yeah. Like there's been different, my dad, like my mate who opened the gym, we formed a really good relationship. And he helped me a lot with my fitness career, There's definitely people in my life who've been influential in that aspect, but I don't think there's been one particular person who has kind of driven me to where I am now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now in my life, there's definitely, like my uncle owns a gym, so we feed off each other a fair bit. Now I'm a father though, so having a family, that's what drives me the most now, to want to be successful.
That's the biggest drive I think
want to have.
have.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my life has totally changed within the last year, and what drives me now, whereas before it was probably more about myself.
Yeah, well, it's no longer about you anymore. Like, I'm talking from experience. Like, the whole selfishness bit kind of just goes out the window, and it becomes about those people you got to provide for.
Yeah,
being your children and your wife and your family.
Totally. Yeah.
What about you, Mel?
Coming from probably like a Lebanese background, I've always felt like really indebted to my parents, and they obviously you always want to like be successful them and their whole dream really, pay off their mortgage and kind of stuff like that. And for a certain level, it definitely is that for me. Like my family, they meant a lot to me, and I feel like obviously my father came out when he was 20, and I've got so much family in Lebanon. Like I've got like 7 aunties, 5 uncles and stuff like that over there, and countless family members. And I feel like the amount of opportunity now I have in Australia, I feel indebted to the family name a bit. It sounds bad. It's also pressure, but that's the way I feel like to try and make the most out of it, and also just prove myself right, and probably prove to a lot of the people like Luke that believes in me, like a lot of people in my life, just prove them right and just have a swing. Kind of live now. I kind of feel I live off the bat bar. What was the motto? You see, one home run to win.
You said that to me the other day when we were talking, when we were organising all this. You said to me, it just takes one home run. That's it, bro. And it's true, but you've got to take those risks to have that home run.
And that's, I think, even through, obviously, we went through COVID here, that kind of stuff, and adversity. I think without the failures of previous lessons in the previous business, I don't think I would have been, as much as I'm not going to say I was calm during it, but I thought, we'll just get through it. You know what I mean? I think that was never being outside for like 5 months for me and Luke. I was like, I actually kind of miss it sometimes. Like, sometimes like getting used to those, the lessons from the past mistakes or failures, they say. And probably said that the business in a really, really good position moving forward, I feel.
Thank you guys for giving us, especially for the audience, to give them a bit of an insight into what makes you tick. That's kind of led you to this place. So Now, this is a very special place in what you guys have created here, and which we'll kind of get into in a minute. But just to give the audience a bit of understanding, like in your own words, like what is EMP Performance?
Look, I'm just going to go straight to sort of probably our model. It's a safe space for people to come in and pursue their potential in its shortest words.
Yeah. Very much like Luke, like I'd say the same thing. I think it's like, obviously you want a gym to be your second home. Obviously people say that, and everyone goes, every small business says we have the best community. You know what? They're right.
Yeah.
They do have the best community because, the gym they're at or the community they have is the best thing for them. And I think, like Luke says, about having an environment where people feel safe and welcome, and the ability to like take control of their life. You can wish things, you can want them, but I feel like when you come into a gym, especially, and you have to physically work for them, and it takes a lot out of you. And we try and create the most supportive, the best environment that anyone that can walk into health and fitness and do it. And we don't have the most fancy equipment, we don't have all the bells and whistles, but the system in here that works. And the reason why it works so well is the people, the community. New person comes in and they hug them. Once they're in this gym, they don't leave. And I mean that because we've just, not nurtured by accident, but it's by the people, obviously we are, and the members we have. And it creates this position where they can actually, pursue potential. And, it sounds like a big word, pursue potential, but like everyone's different. And pursue potential might be like a brand new father, what's wrong with their kids in 20, 30 years time. My mother wants to lose 20 kilos, go on the holiday. Could be our children, could be an athlete. And we've got some fucking freakishly strong people here that are mothers and fathers. And it's just like, you look at them, you're like, wow. And there's no one in this gym that's put into special categories for their ability. It's their effort. Everyone's just here to live it up. And that's why I think we're the most special gym and community,
We're wanting to put this together. Obviously, for most people, when they go to business, or they've got a passion, they want to go into a particular field, there's generally a hole in the market or something that they see that they're not happy with that maybe is going on that they want to fix with their own business. Was that the case for you guys? Like, was it that maybe you saw that other gyms weren't so connected with their community, or, was there a particular thing that led you to have that motto?
Look, in all honesty, probably not. Probably for me anyway. I've been around, like I said, the last few years, CrossFit gyms, right? Mm-hmm. They're renowned for having community. Yeah. That's what CrossFit's built off, community. Yeah. Yeah. So, probably not so much when it comes to the community aspect. From the training perspective, maybe a little bit there. There might have been a little bit of a hole. For example, CrossFit's very full-on, very high intense, whereas our model is more that hybrid style model where you get the best of your strength training, your high intensity. So I think that might answer your question a little bit though, but it probably is not the factor before for me anyway. Yeah, I didn't think there's a hole. Let's go open EMP because of that hole. Yeah. I think there's other factors, like I said before, that led me personally
that led you to this
to open EMP, and then from that we've kind of built,
just through experience, figured out what those holes are through experience.
Correct, and then tried to fill those holes a little bit, and based off our morals and our values together, and that's kind of how we built EMP.
And then, like, looking at what you said, something you touched on before was you said that this is for everyone from the athlete to the mum and dad.
Yep.
And you've got them all in the same space, generally at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. So how does that go as far as, like, having such vast different fitness levels? Like, I know, like, a CrossFit athlete is a very fit person. And then you've got someone that's like a mum or a dad. Obviously, they want to get fitter. Yep. But you've managed to successfully nurture this environment where they can coexist in the same space at the same time together. Was that something that organically happened, or was it something you had to work towards? Like, were there obstacles you had to overcome?
I mean, there's always obstacles you need to overcome in different areas. I think having the ability to scale for each person is huge. And then at the end of the day, it comes down to intent and intensity with the training. Like obviously, if you've got a 40-year-old mother, they're not going to push as hard as a 20-year-old male who's trying to be the best in their sport. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
The training modalities around that is quite similar based on the scalable effect of that training program. Yeah. So I think that's where both our experience in the industry and working with the coaches that we've worked with, having the ability to scale based on the needs of a certain person is a big factor, I think, when it comes to having those types of people training together. And then, culture's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Having that culture where you have an athlete, and we've got plenty of athletes, who they push hard, but then having them with a 40, 50-year-old mother or father, and them actually helping them, I think that's huge as well.
It's a big thing because, like, in some cases, depending what sport it is, but like just being an athlete in general is like a bit of in its own way is a bit of a selfish thing because you've got to focus so much on yourself. So having an environment where these athletes are able to come in and obviously be generous in sharing their knowledge and helping others and obviously pushing other people that not necessarily have the same goals is a really big thing. It's a big testament to you guys and what you guys have created here.
Yeah, culture is everything, man. Like that's probably the biggest thing for my past gym experiences. Yeah, you and Alex, and it's like it's most important thing because like a rising tide brings up all ships. Do you know what I mean? So having someone like like Chrissy and Mans, and they see those women how strong they are, brings them up to try and inspire them, and everyone just kind of follows. And for the back of that, it just lifts them up. You got people where like 20 people competing like surf games last year. It's like these women would never have like thought they were capable of doing that. But when you like nurture them and the people around them that care about them, and then creates a second home, it leads off the back of that. So special.
And was there a particular time in your business, probably in the early days, when you were starting to figure this stuff out and you started to understand that real importance of nurturing that community and building this beautiful thing you guys have? Was there a particular moment, or there might not have been, but was there a particular moment where you guys said, fuck, this has got potential, like this can go, like this can work?
Look, for the first 2 years, it was probably not, because it was a bit of a write-off with COVID.
Yeah.
And we were just trying to get through, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like we were just trying to get off.
And we'll touch on that a little bit later, but it was more so around like, was there like after that, maybe that rough?
I'm going to say, and Mel might have a different answer, but I reckon within the last year,
I
feel like the business, when it comes to that culture and side of things, is probably in the best place it's been. And that could be, since we did turf games or a few little comps and things like that people have started to realize what they're capable of. But yeah, I probably think, and I probably can't put my finger on exactly why, but I reckon definitely the last year is probably the best, probably the best place the business has been in from that perspective.
Yeah, it's probably, I would 100% agree, Luke. It's probably definitely being the strongest. I think for me, community has always been something that I've like always strive for. Like I'm a huge believer in it. I'm a huge believer in teamwork and having necessarily like people say banter, but support and training together. Like walk us through days, man.
Yeah.
Like I learned that from like Bass and Cam and Dan Bradley and all them. Like I used to laugh from 10 to 12 o'clock. Best time of day. Everyone would get there, and I kind of, from that moment onwards, I've kind of learned that you need to have someone that's ahead and someone chasing and someone's beginning. And that sounds like it's not that person's ahead that's better than them. It's not that. You need someone to strive for and as a mentor. And I think with having people around this gym, like people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's something Mass used to always say. And from the coaches to members, we always try and go above and beyond showing that we care, and that probably creates a strong culture of like, wanting to push themselves, and it's just a back off that, I reckon.
And I think for me as well, and obviously Mel, like coming from a football background,
Mm-hmm.
being around club aspect and team environment,
Mm-hmm.
you need a strong culture
Yeah.
to be a successful football team.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of learnings we've probably picked from that, not really realizing, to be honest, that we've kind of brought over. And then the passion that we both have for fitness, for health, for helping each other, put those two hand in hand. And that's probably where EMP's.
Nothing better than that, man. There's nothing better than saying like people that thought they couldn't do something and achieve goals.
Yeah.
Or, it's like my thing is my only job is to believe in yourself, believe in you before you believe in yourself. That's because it's a genuine thing. If people are willing to try. I really I believe in people. That sometimes gets people burnt too for believing. But like you want to believe in them and then give them the building blocks to do stuff. Because I think the hardest thing is just starting, man. Starting, and then the rest comes from it.
So, guys, just after touching on all this, what one bit of advice you'd give to someone that might be a bit reluctant or a bit hesitant to start their journey in fitness, whether it be to go down the path you guys have, or just to become a fitter person that might be there for their family or whatever it might be. So, what's that one bit of advice you'd probably give them to take that leap to get started?
Don't overthink it. Just start first and foremost. But then delving into that, if we're talking about someone who's looking to get into fitness, probably do your research and find a space that isn't too intimidating to start with, probably, and find coaches who have experience of being in the industry long enough, who are going to be able to nurture you properly, to help you with your fitness journey to start with. I think that's a big thing. There's a lot of coaches out there who may look like they know what they're doing, but are probably in it for the wrong reasons. So I think that's probably a big thing for me, for someone who's looking to start fitness.
Well, just on that, it's probably also just due to the low barrier of entry when you think about it. Like, so anyone can go do that course.
Yeah,
and anyone qualifies a PT.
Do you know what I mean? So, I think experience that says a lot. Experience in the game. It's like any job, really. That experience. It's very crucial for most people. So,
I think it's like fear setting, the cost of inaction. When if you're really overweight or unhappy, or unhealthy, cost of I'm not taking the first leap of trying to get fit. And I've kind of say, like I've always said, what's the minimal amount of work you're willing to commit to for a year? Whether it's like a half-hour walk every day or twice a week. If you start by that and you build off that and you habit stack, and also just finding a proper coach, like we said, a proper environment that actually wants to see you get better, and that you're willing to be vulnerable and make mistakes and just have a go. Like, just like, honestly, just have a go. Like that thing, like we've kind of even got out of the gym. Like, no one really says I can't anymore. Like, I think this place, like, just we've learned that, like, stop saying you can't. Have you tried?
Yeah.
Then stop. Yeah. Then try and do it. And then what's the worst going to happen? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So, find a space that you're willing to just sharpen.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about where you want to get. It's just where you need to start.
Focus on the journey, not the destination. I live my life by that quote now. It's honestly breaking that down, and like Mel said, habit stacking, compounding interests, compounding habits, day in, day out.
Well, just being in the gym, like even for myself, that teaches you that discipline. Like, at the end of the day, if you're just working towards a set goal and that's it, like there's a full stop, it's never sustainable.
No.
But if you're working to constantly make yourself better, even if it's that 1% better every day, day in, day out, you'll get there.
100%.
Adds up.
It's just compounding good habits.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like having money in a high yield interest account.
Yeah.
The same thing. It compounds.
Yeah.
So that's how I look
Well
at
put.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to what we were talking about before, about when you guys opened, smack back, right when COVID happened.
When we opened. Well, we actually didn't even open, to be honest.
So we started on the very first day of COVID. And when I say the very first day of COVID, our opening date was June 13th, the 14th. No, it was 3 hours before that. It was supposed to be March.
We took the lease in March, April, May. Yeah, April or May it was. and then we were meant to open up
On that Monday.
and then a week prior COVID started to our opening date.
Oh, wow.
1 week prior.
How's the cortisol levels?
It was amazing. we did boot camps out there for 4 weeks? 4 weeks?
We just honestly had. I think what probably helped us in a way is the fact that we'd both been in the industry already.
Yeah.
So I had my clients, he had his clients. So we kind of had a little bit of a base already.
Mm-hmm.
We were just starting from nothing. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was pretty stressful.
Yeah. 3 months outside. Then, so the thing was most interesting is 1 year, our 1 year birthday. Same thing. We actually were going to first have COVID. Very first day of COVID. Our 1 year birthday to the day of the Saturday, they gave us a second lockdown. The big one, the 6 month, 5 month one. So we're outside, which I'm sure you guys will get a bit of camera photos later. Like it was outside for 5 months, winter, and then we pretty much lost.
Then we had the Christmas lockdown, which was for a couple of weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you could almost write the first 2 years of starting our business.
Credit to you guys for pulling through it, because someone else would have just hung up the white flag and said, fuck this.
And that's so I think when I said, like, if I didn't go through the cafe experience and hospitality stuff, I would have probably freaked out. But I was like, the worst case scenario, like really the worst case scenario is, I know it sounds bad, but like, you just go bankrupt. Like, I know it sounds bad. But that's the worst that happen to you. That's the worst thing that's happened to you. You know, you're pushing through. So it's like, you just like stay in it. Like, I don't sound simple, but I was like, that's my thing.
That wasn't my
You just got to fucking commit.
Yeah, you commit and you just keep on swinging. You just make it work.
We'd already taken that leap of faith, and it was like we weren't going to let that stop us.
Yeah, 100%.
That was kind of how I was thinking. You know, we just weren't going to let that stop us. Do what we had to do to get through. No one knew how long the shit was going to take.
No.
So it was like, just once again, day by day, do what you need to do to get through it. And 2 years later, it ended up being. And look, to be honest, it probably for us was longer than 2 years, because we had that year, we got back inside, we started to build, and we actually were probably at one of our highest member rates.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, fuck, we're on a roll here, like just shit's happening. And then boom, big lockdown happened. Outside 5 months, we lost around 25 to 30% of our business.
Oh, wow.
And to come back from that, it took us, we're almost probably only back at that in the last couple of months, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a slog since then. So yeah, we definitely lost probably longer than 2 years based off that having to rebuild again. So it hasn't been easy, that's for sure. It's certainly been tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been tough.
I think, like I was saying, muck around, but the worst case that happened is it's actually not that bad.
No.
Yeah, and lose your lease and whatever we have to, we'll sell the equipment. Do you know what I mean? Like,
This is back to what you said before. It just takes one idea to get off the ground, and that's all you need.
Right.
One home run. Like, you're not going to know if you're going to have that home run unless you take that risk.
Many people probably glorify success, entrepreneurship, that word entrepreneurship. It's fucking like, it's actually
hate that word. Hate that
It's
word.
like, I remember seeing Disneyland, 20 years ago. I was like, I think if people call themselves entrepreneurs, it's like disease. Like, in terms of, honestly, sometimes the willingness to want to create things is a killer too, because there's been times, honestly, a lot of people I know that, they wish they had a job. They wish they want to like create something, be easy on their soul, on their head.
Yeah.
On it. But I think so. When you've got a dream, it's
Well, it's that overwhelming purpose that makes it all worthwhile.
exactly right.
So if you've got a purpose and you're not just doing it for the sake of just making money, then the long days, those hard conversations, those shit situations you got to put yourself through, they kind of cancel themselves out.
Yeah.
But it's just making sure that you've got that right purpose and that right driver or that right motivation, whether that is like what, you guys said, even back to like your current driver of like being your family, or, just wanting to create and nurture a community here and build something great like you have. Like whatever that is, there's got to be a strong enough driver to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll say one important thing for me too, and I probably don't tell me enough. If I wasn't with Luke outside there, my perspective would be totally different. No, there's no. I think there's really a time that me and Luke each have to do something. Maybe you want to do it, but knowing that having someone like Luke beside me, like, no, whatever challenge there is, if we both want to commit to, like, we will get over it. If we both commit to wanting to do it, we will find a way. Because I'll tell you something, like, and our business isn't anywhere where we want it. I mean, we'll get to it today, but it's ability, like, pick yourself off the canvas, get up, and there's been 100 little setbacks in terms of, like, pulling downstairs, being outside, things like cash flow, run those, and just
Cash flow is a killer for small business.
it's the hardest in the world now. It's the hardest, and Jack Delosa said this sometimes. If someone almost on paper, it makes absolutely no sense, but you just know it's going to work. You just know, and
It's been resilient enough, and it's like whatever life lessons, whatever situation you've been through in life, and we've probably both had situations in life which has made us resilient. I feel like that's what's helped us to where we are now.
yeah,
Being able to be resilient in business, because you need to be.
Yeah.
Business is not easy.
No.
People look from the outside and they might think, oh, fuck, it's, you live in the dream. Tell you what, we're not living the dream. You know what I mean? But we're building towards maybe trying to live that dream.
Yeah.
But it's,
Just takes time.
it just takes time. And it's not easy.
People will see the end result, they see the success, but they don't see all the shit that you've got to go through to get to that.
No.
yeah. I think you want to have the people first mentality in your small business.
Yeah.
And small business is so different. They teach you around like a big business, but like big business can't be around like a small business. It's it's impossible because when you're owner operators,
The mechanics are just completely different.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is like you always see your members and the people, and then hopefully it all pans out how you want to be.
I'm not gonna use the word entrepreneur because I know it's gonna make Mel see it. But if you had,
It's a gamble. It's really a gamble. Business is a gamble. It's like Luke's
it's a risk.
I've always been a risk taker. Like I find it, but I wish I wasn't, to be honest with you. I wish I did like it. Like, I think you've got to have a bit of, I don't know, what to say, balls.
you gotta have a pair of balls. You gotta have a pair of balls in you to do it in the first place.
Backbone, courage, because it's true. Like when you always regret the things you didn't try and do. Like at least you have
Yeah.
regrets. The regret is the worst.
And just on that, like if someone came to you, regardless of where their current standpoint was, and they were kind of standing on the ledge, they haven't taken that first big step in whether it be in a fitness industry or any kind of real business, small business, like, let's just say in general, like if someone came to you and said, hey Mel, Luke, I want some advice, got this great idea that you can see like the fire in their eyes, like they're ready to go, but they just can't take that step, like what would your advice to that person be?
Tim Ferriss, fear setting. Go watch that. Tim Ferriss, fear setting. And that tells you all the cost of inaction if you don't do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And often the cost of inaction outweighs all the failure that happens in your life. You know what I mean? That's the first thing I'll tell you to do. And then obviously I'd say go get a mentor, and I'll tell you all the fucking things I did wrong, and then don't do those things. Like don't do all of them. And then but fear setting really, man, because and getting over what probably people think about you, and then just have a fucking swing.
Yes.
Have a swing.
Yeah, and I think having the right support network and environment around you is huge as well. So like, don't go in it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because having them people around you, for example, we work with each other. We've argued. There's been moments we've argued and whatever else and disagreed. But at the end of the day, having each other to fall back on is huge when it comes to business. So I definitely would be like, don't go in it alone. And whether that is a mentor or whether that could be, whoever it is, but having the right support network and environment around you, when you do take that leap of faith, can't put a price on that. It's so important. Yeah.
Well, that's some really good advice. I think someone out there is going to take that advice and write to
You next, Charles. I'll interview you.
Huh?
Honestly, interview you.
I think we should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time,
All for it. All for it.
next time we'll do another round. We'll make sure we're both wearing bow ties. But before we go, if both of you could say one thing to your younger self and to your future self, what would it be?
My younger self, be smarter with your money, and plan for the future. Pete. Come back to me on that one.
I see Mel's ticking over there.
Yeah, I've never really thought about my future self, to be honest.
Oh, good, mate.
Well, I don't know what to say for my future self, so I'm like,
Don't believe the things you said to yourself, and believe you can do anything you can. Capable of everything.
for your younger self.
Or I was saying my younger self, or dead. Probably don't believe the things you say to yourself.
What would you say to your future self, Melly?
Future self,
Stop.
you made it.
You made it.
It's confidence right there.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, you did it. Like that's a thing. I think we're all capable of big things, or just if not, listen, they really regret.
And on that, boys, what's next for EMP?
Look, continue growing where we are now. Our end goal is to have a bigger space. Have a bigger space, being able to offer the services we want to offer. We are limited with where we are now, based on off the space. So, hopefully within the next 2 years, we can get into the position that we can get, 300 to 400 square meter space.
Yeah.
We can have
500.
This is a risk taker.
Mel says 500 today. Next week is going to come in. Luke, we need 1,000.
Yeah, we'll go 350 compromise.
Chicken shop in there.
He wants it
Cafe,
all.
chicken
He
shop.
wants it all. Anyway, but look, yeah, definitely a big space where we can offer a lot more. And
I think having a space makes Luke offer everything he wants to do as well. He's probably one of the best coaches I've seen. I believe that. And then having a place where we really build the best community. And that's just more than training.
Yeah.
Gives them a service and allows them to come one and really be that sheer potential with everything else.
Yeah.
Environment is key.
Well, guys, I've seen what you've both done here in really a short amount of time. Like it really hasn't been that long. And you guys have created something really amazing. And I'm only saying this because I've seen it myself and I've seen your journey. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. So thank you for both being on the podcast today, sharing your story.
Thanks for having us.
And, hopefully giving someone out there some insight to just do the right thing and fucking just, well, maybe not the right thing, but just take that leap and just run with it.
Yeah. Mate, we appreciate you having us on and allowing us to share our story, I guess, and talk a bit about EMP. So we thought we'd give you a bit of a present. Hope it fits. Might be a bit small. You are quite large, so
Thanks, guys.
welcome to the team.
Okay, girls.
Make sure it fits, though.
12-month contract.
Make sure
Yeah,
it fits.
12-month lock-in contract. If you want to leave, you got to pay out 24 months.
Yeah. None of that. None of that.
But no, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And thanks for the gift.
Awesome. Thanks. Cheers, Charles. Thanks, mate.
Excellent.